They pretended they never wanted to go there in the first place.
The Russians pretty much sort of threw in the towel then, and they then repurposed their program, claiming that they'd always just intended to place large payloads into Earth orbit with the purpose of building space stations.
This Soviet policy of secrecy and disinformation has caused many to wonder what else they were lying about.
Everything.
That sort of cover-up set the tone that people began to suspect that Moscow would say anything and lie about anything if it came to protecting their reputation of their space program.
Some even claim that Yuri Gagarin was not the first person in space. They believe that the Soviets also covered up other disasters. Accidents that left cosmonauts dead in orbit, or worse, drifting off into space with no way back.
I think launches that occurred that we didn't hear about because they were not successful, these stories have never been either totally refuted or totally confirmed. And that is where this whole mystery comes from.
Ecco qui, mentre siamo all'ascolto.
Another firm subscriber to this theory is Giovanni Judica Cordelia, an amateur radio enthusiast from Turin, Italy.
Quando c'è stato
On the 4th of October, 1957, there was the Sputnik first launch.
Sorry, guys.
And we decided to see if we could connect ourselves. It was on an easy frequency, and we managed to hear it.
After listening in to Sputnik, Giovanni and his older brother, Achille, became obsessed with the space race. So obsessed, they set up their own private listening post so they could eavesdrop on these missions. In the years that followed, Giovanni claims they uncovered at least 3 manned Soviet launches before Gagarin's that all ended in tragedy. One of them occurred in February 1961.
la sera del 2 febbraio,
The evening of the 2nd of February, at 10 in the evening, we recorded some frequencies used by the Soviets. We heard difficult breathing.
This is the recording the brothers claim to have made that night.
la prima rimanemmo
We were very shocked when we listened to such dramatic breathing.
questo così drammatico.
My brother was a medical student at the time,
A scuola.
and we contacted one of his professors.
Lui, riascoltando poi
When he listened to the recording, he diagnosed a person starved of oxygen.
quindi l'atmosfera all'ossigeno si
This made us think that inside the vehicle, the air supply was cut off.
l'astronauta.
Oh, Lord.
Could this have been a secret space mission gone wrong? All that is certain is that Moscow made no announcement of a manned launch that day. When the Italian press learned about their recordings, the brothers became famous in their own country. Spurred on by the media, they expanded their operation. Over the years, they begged, borrowed, and bought so much equipment they were able to create their own private mission control.
Oh, wow.
In October 1963, they used this enhanced setup to record what they claim is an even more disturbing secret Soviet mission.
All of a sudden, we heard a woman's voice, a dramatic piece. That made us think of an imminent end. Her voice, what she was saying, was very dramatic. At one point, she started talking about flames. I see a flame, I see a flame. Her voice was very agitated, worried.
Agitata, più preoccupata.
And then she asked, "Will I get back?"
Io rientrerò.
Oh, jeez.
Si è interrotto.
Then the communication stopped, and the two of us were left without words.
Oh, Lord.
The classic switch came back, the typical sound of the short waves, and then nothing. Silence.
Could these recordings be an elaborate hoax? The Soviet track record of lies and cover-ups make many people think they can't be fake.
Why would they bother to make it all up? I don't think they did. If what they recorded recounts Russian cosmonauts, both male and female, who appear to be unable to return to Earth, that is quite shocking. Now, would the Soviet Union, as they were at the time, announce that? Probably not.
Former NASA mission controller and amateur historian James Oberg has uncovered evidence that shows just how far Russians sometimes went to conceal their failures. Duplicate versions of photographs showing the cosmonauts. Except, in certain versions, some of the cosmonauts are missing.
Photographs in which, in a group, 4 men in the back row in one group and only 3 in the other. And in place of the 4th man, a shadow. Maybe his hand's still on his neighbor's shoulder, but he's clearly been removed from the photograph.
So who were these people deleted from the official records? Could they be the ones recorded by the Utica Cordelia brothers?
After finding several before and after pairs like this, we began to wonder if these men had been among those secretly killed early in the program.
After the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, the country's secret space archives were opened.
It was funny to the degree that the Soviet censors would release the forged version, forgetting or not caring that the authentic version had already been released, or someone else would release the authentic version a year or 2 after the forged version was in another magazine. They just couldn't control all the lies they were telling.
Wow.
After years of research, Oberg learned the fates of these missing cosmonauts. And it wasn't what he'd been expecting. One of them was 27-year-old Grigory Nilyubov.
Grigory Nilyubov had been one of the finalists for Gagarin's flight, but he was involved in a shameful disciplinary issue.
Nilyubov's crime was being drunk and disorderly on the Moscow metro with 2 fellow cosmonauts. A minor offense for an ordinary citizen. But cosmonauts were great communist heroes. And heroes don't get into brawls at train stations.
All 3 got reported, cashiered, and exiled from the cosmonaut program. Gone forever, and not just from the program, from the group photographs too.
Oh, wow, his arm is still around the other guy. He was right.
1966. But
That's crazy.
by suicide.
Wow. I don't
And
think
it
he killed
turns
himself.
out that none of the other airbrushed men had died in secret space flights either.
They might have been
Taken
killed.
out of the pictures who hadn't passed the test, who had dropped out, who had made their colleagues ashamed of them or embarrassed by them, and they were gone.
What's more, Oberg cannot find a single launch that matches up with the Utica Cordelia recordings.
There are no secret graves. There are no people missing. We now know what happened to all of them, and there aren't anybody there on that list that appears to have gone off somewhere and was lost in space.
Nonetheless, Achille Utica Cordelia went to his grave insisting he had captured real space disasters. But whether the tapes are real or a hoax, it's now known that the Soviet space program was never as advanced as they claimed.
The cosmonaut program was really, it's a lot of smoke and mirrors in a way, because what they do is they use basically the same technology. It doesn't change at all. They have capsules at the top. They put different things or people in the capsules and make it look like they're breaking boundaries.
Just like NASA did.
This strategy backfired. By pretending to be pioneers, the Soviets simply spurred their American rivals on to even greater success.
So we
But
think.
for many, the question still remains. How did NASA manage to develop such sophisticated technology in such a short space of time? One conspiracist thinks they had help, and that the help was out of this world.
My take on the whole moon landing is that we went there with advanced help from extraterrestrial groups and
Demons.
with their technology.
Fallen angels.